Hello guys, Sirgrandolot here. Today was supposed to be stream day, but my internet company screwed me, so rip my stream for today. To make up for that, I will be making my semi-mandatory tier list for patch 3.6, which is something that I always dread to do because all the people who really like the characters who end up in the lower half tend to instantly unsubscribe from my channel, but whatever. It's something that I have to do. Now, I already tried to do one tier list, and it took me almost 40 minutes, because as time goes by, we have more and more characters. Eventually it will take me forever, and for 90% of the time it's a matter of repeating the same things over and over again every patch. So what I will be doing now is, for all the characters, I will basically just put them on a tier that I consider correct, and I will mention something very quick about them. But on screen, there will be something showing up, if future Sirgrandolot remembers to do it, to explain my thought a little bit better. So you can pause the video and read it and see if you agree, disagree, if you want to report me for hate speech, or whatever. Without further ado, I will put the main characters here. I will put Albedo in good useful. She's a little bit meh. Ayaka, her stocks goes up and down depending on the AB's composition, but she's still a fantastic DPS. Barbara, a bit meh. Beidou, good useful. As usual, she's great against AoE, bad against a single target, and the challenging stuff in the game tends to be single target, so I cannot value her very high. This is a bit of a spoiler for Venti, by the way. Bennett, God tier. Chongers is a little bit niche. His utility is heavily tied to Shenhe, because if you can give Cryo Infusion to other characters and you have Shenhe, then he becomes more useful. Otherwise, he's a little bit niche. Diluc has seen better days, but he's still pretty useful, and similarly for Kea, they actually work very well together, because Melt Diluc is better than Vape Diluc. They're still pretty good, but require a bit of love and investment. Diona is useful, as well as Lila, if I could find her quickly. It's taking me forever. Oh my god, okay, here we go. They feel exactly the same role in teams. Some teams tend to prefer Diona, some teams don't favor any over the other. Essentially, you can build the one you like the most. Fischl, excellent, as well as Gaching. Dendro definitely revitalize them. Ganyu, God tier. The amount of people who can do solo Abyss runs in the Abyss with Ganyu in one half keeps growing every patch. It just shows how broken her kit is. Utao is still God tier, especially against bosses. Jin, very useful. Klee, I don't enjoy playing her very much, but she's still very good. Deals a lot of damage. Lisa is a little bit niche, but she has her own uses, especially thanks to Dendro. Mona can be very useful. There is not a single team in which you absolutely, really, mandatorily need Mona, but she can fit in quite a few teams and she performs extremely well. Ningguang didn't get a lot of love in recent patches, and she definitely lost a bit of value. Noelle, I will put her in good useful. There will be a very long disclaimer on screen now. Similarly to Chi-Chi. Razor is a little bit meh for me, although I am 100% aware of the fact that if you build him in the whatever it's called, the furry team, Genshin Impact team names are becoming borderline retarded. I refuse to try to remember them. There is the Burgeon team where you use him, and in that team he performs well, but otherwise he's a pretty meh character. He's just good because Dendro reactions are broken and he happens to interact well with some of them. Sacrose is excellent. I used to rank him a little bit lower, but she's just so useful in teams with Elemental Mastery shenanigans. Child, very good damage dealer. Venti, very niche, only good when he gets a run. This is about the time where I lose a few subs, which is people who really like Venti, but you have to deal with it. I really find him useless. Once you reach an adventure rank, past which clearing hilliture camps in the map is no longer the thing that you do on a daily basis. Past that, his utility is, yeah, I clear a domain 3 seconds quicker, yay. Shanling here, she's great, but funnel energy is a curse. Xiao here. He's very good, he got some love thanks to Farzan, so I'm willing to rank him a little bit higher than in the past. I believe I used to rank him here, but he's a good damage dealer, and especially if you have a high constellation Farzan, he's going to be obliterating the universe. Xinchu, absolutely fantastic support. No comment on Xinyan. John Lee, I'm willing to put him God tier just because he makes the game a joy to play, much easier. He provides defensive utility, provides defense reduction, resistance reduction. He's amazing. Rosario, very good unit, doesn't even require much investment. Eula, I'm still willing to put her here. But she's starting to feel a little bit less performing compared to other characters that are here, mainly because she's not getting any help. Mika doesn't really help her that much. Yanfei here, she's very good damage dealer. Kazuha is absolutely god tier. Yomiya requires a little bit more babysitting compared to someone like Hu Tao, so I rank him a tier lower, but she's still a fantastic character, and her team building is more versatile compared to Hu Tao. Hu Tao really wants Shinshu, and she performs at her best with double Hydro. Yomiya has more team members that can fit her well. Unfortunately, Sayo is a bit mad. I will never understand why this thing is in the tier list. Raiden is god tier at any constellation, any build. For the 4-star niche support unit, we wait a little bit. Moving Kokomi up a little bit. I used to rank her a little bit lower, but I'm willing to rank her a little bit higher. This is not a character of Genshin Impact. I'm willing to put Toma here, because he's a bit niche, but within his niche he performs pretty well. He's borderline here, but I find him more useful than more overall useful than someone like Razor, who is literally a one-trick pony. Itto, excellent damage dealer. Noel, Shen, excellent cryo support. Yunjin, she's useful. She's a bit niche because she only works with normal attackers, but there is quite a few, and for most of them she's the best, or at least one of the best support units. Yamiko, excellent, especially if you're playing Dendro. She goes down a little bit if you do not have Dendro, but with Dendro she's a fantastic damage dealer. Ayato, very good damage dealer, very good Hydro unit overall, fantastic character. Yelan does not require much introduction, she just goes up there in god tier. Cookie and Dory, I put them here next to each other, will probably be a big thing to read on screen right now. The too long didn't read is Cookie is better in Hyperbloom teams, Dory is better in every other team, because as a particle generator and as a healer, Dory is much better than Cookie. Hyperbloom teams are very good, but Aggravate, Spread, whatever teams are also very good. So which one is better depends on what you're playing. I'm willing to put him here as well, because I actually think that I undervalued Heizo in the past. As a non-field damage dealer, he's very good, and if you do not have Sacrose, he can replace her. He's not as good as Sacrose in teams that really want Sacrose, but you may not have Sacrose. So overall, he's a pretty valuable character. I think Teneri is good, useful, but not as good as characters in this tier. Collei, she's a bit niche, but she works well in the teams where she fits. And I will put Candace here as well for the same reason. In some teams, particularly Bloom teams, Candace can actually be pretty good, depending on how you build the rest of the team. Nilu, excellent. She makes Bloom team fantastic. A bit limited, but within that niche, she's absolutely bonkers. And she's really pretty. Sino here, he's a good damage dealer. I wish his kit was a little bit better because his design and animations are great. Nahida is absolutely busted, I put her here. By the way, it's not the order, so it's not that Nahida is more busted than whoever is in this tier list. I just put them there. The way I arrange them is basically random. Before Wanderer, I want to put Alhaitham. Alhaitham for me is a god tier because he's the best on-field danger driver that we have in the game right now at no constellations, and which makes him broken in many teams. Wanderer, on the other hand, as a hyper carry dude, yeah, he's very good, but you can say the same thing about Xiao. On the other hand, if instead of being a hyper carry, you have him on the field as Anemo character, he's basically a premium version of Sacros without elemental mastery shenanigans, or just a Heizo who deals more damage. So for him, Alhaitham is a better value than Wanderer. Yayao is fantastic. I cannot believe that we basically got her for free. Kinda for free. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but you're really bad. She is absolutely terrible. Kaveh, at the moment, I will put him here. I'm making this tier list before the release of Kaveh and Baizhu, and actually before the latest beta changes, so things may change a little bit. His kit looks really meh, but I'm willing to put him here just because he has the ability of being an on-field danger driver in Bloom teams. How variable this is going to be will probably depend on your account, how much you like him, how much you like Bloom, and all this sort of stuff. He's between meh and here. Let's talk a little bit about Baizhu. I will put him in excellent for this reason. I consider, as I already mentioned, the hardest content in the game to be bosses or chambers that have, one or two very beefy tanky enemies. Currently, Baizhu's kit is fantastic healing, bad energy generation, and decent danger application only against one or two targets, very bad against large groups of enemies. He has a weak shield that keeps refreshing, which means that you get fairly constant and decent resistant interruption and some damage reduction. So overall his kit is very useful. It's particularly good against bosses, at least as of now, 10th of April. I find him very valuable, and especially, one more thing to notice, just like Shenhe, he's very easy to build. Shenhe, you build her attack percentage as much as you can, energy recharge as much as you can, weapon, whatever you have for her, she's great. Baizhu, you build him for full hit points and a lot of energy recharge, then you give him a prototype Ember, Constellation 0, he's absolutely fine. So he's far from being a must pull, just like Shenhe. But if you pull for him because you like him and you play Dendro teams, he's going to be absolutely fine. He's going to provide a lot of value for your teams. The problem is, if you really have a Yao Yao who is level 90 with good talents and you have built her well, then unless you really want to play Dendro on both sides of the Abyss, it's going to be a little bit redundant. But if you do not have Yao Yao, you have not built her very well, he's going to be very valuable. And overall, if you really like the dude and you want to build him, I think he's going to be a very good character. Just not amazing. Where did I put Kokomi? He does not feel as good as Kokomi, in the sense that it's easier to replace him than Kokomi. If you think about the freeze teams where Kokomi shines, yeah, you can put Mona, you can put Barbara, but it's not the same. And in Bloom teams, yeah, you can put other characters, but it's not the same. Baizhu probably from that point of view feels a little bit worse than Kokomi, trying to make a comparison, within those teams, but overall he brings a lot of value to a team. So I think that he's being a little bit underrated by a lot of theory crafters who focus a lot on the math of what he does rather than the overall utility. especially in situations where his kit works well, which, as I mentioned earlier, against bosses, he will be able to apply Dendro fairly consistently, and it's going to work pretty well. These 4 characters, at low constellation, before I put them on the chart, at the low constellation, Goro is by far the best. Sarah is unplayable, and these two feel very bad at low constellation. Mika does not even feel better. He does not even feel good at high constellations, because not really his fault, but currently Fischl is the only one who really benefits from Mika due to hit lag. In case you don't know, hit lag is when someone like Eula, who has a claymore, hits an enemy, the hit slows down her attacks a little bit, and it impacts the amount of attacks that you can do before unleashing her burst, and which means that she cannot benefit as much as she could by Mika's kit. On the other hand, a bow user like Fischl, there was a cut because I had to sneeze. A bow user like Fischl or Yoimiya, but Yoimiya is not a physical damage dealer, fully benefits from attack speed. She is not really ideal as a physical damage dealer, although her purple signature bow is a physical damage bow. But the day we will get a 5-star physical damage dealer who uses a bow, his stocks will probably go up. I would definitely say don't build Mika right now. He is not particularly useful in for any other character. She is unplayable before Constellation 2, which is the one that poops the buff on the ground automatically. And then at Constellation 6 she becomes a very good buffer for electro characters. The fact that her utility is locked behind the Constellation... Well, unplayable before Constellation 2, very good at Constellation 6, I'm willing to put her here, but not above that. Because it's not like when you get her, her kit is full, otherwise she would be here. It's not like that. Similar reasoning for Farzan. When you get her, she feels like Mika, essentially. But when you get her later constellations and you fix her energy recharge problems, the amount of value she brings to team with Xiao and Wanderer is amazing. So the problem is, in a vacuum, if you do not have Xiao and Wanderer, how valuable is she? She buffs Hazel. At Constellation 0, how valuable is she? She's a pain in the ass to play because of her energy recharge issues. So I think it's fair to say that she's niche and require high investment, so I'm not willing to give her a higher ranking. Goro, I will put him here because of these buffers, he's the only one who is already very good at Constellation 0 and low investment. His defense buff doesn't scale very much at investment, at talent investment, and you know, his critical damage, his geo damage, and all the sort of stuff, all those buffs, they are the same regardless of his level, meaning that you can give him trash artifacts from the Exile set, level him to 70, talents, whatever, weapon, Favonius Warbow. The difference between that and a triple crowned Goro will be very limited. So overall I found him very useful, and very valuable, because I really like characters that do not require a ton of investment to really shine. That will be all. I tried to keep it a little bit more concise compared to my first attempt that lasted almost 30 minutes. You will have a little bit of reading to do in case I completely skipped the evaluation of a character that you were looking for. There will be something on screen to show my reasoning. That will be all for the 3.6 tier list. Hopefully the last beta update for Baizhu and Kaveh will not completely screw my ratings, but I doubt that he will become garbage or god tier, and that he will become a must-have or a Xinyan tier. We shall see. Bye guys, take care.